Welcome to Tansson TV Plus. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Mom.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yep, thank you for joining with us again.
This is a movie discussion, and Mom, how are you doing today?
Brandon, I'm doing fine. It was supposed to snow today. All we saw was a flake. So, I mean, after I'm doing just fine, Brandon.
Well, that's good to hear. Maybe it will snow by the time this releases.
Yeah, maybe it will.
But, Mom, what movie are we speaking about here today?
We're talking about the Fantastic Four First Steps.
Yes, and this released in 2025 on July 25th.
Yes. And Brandon, just so our audience know, this is one of the first movies you've seen in a long time where we actually went to the movie theaters to see it.
Yes, we saw it back in, I believe, August?
Yeah, it was close to the premiere date. I mean, I was impressed with us.
Yeah, so now we're excited to give our discussion and review about at least a quarter of the year later.
Yeah, well, but yes, just to give you all a little information, just what the movie was about. And this is a Marvel movie for those people who are wondering. And Brandon and I both love watching Marvel movies. And so this is about four astronauts, and of course, they go into space on a regular basis. And this takes place in the '60s, give or take. And so, anyway, there was a cosmic storm, and their DNA was altered, and so they were able to gain superpowers. And so two of these superheroes were actually married, and and the wife became pregnant, and so then later we find out there's a villain, and this villain is called Galacticus, and he actually wants this child even before the child is born. He kind of wants this child, but anyway, because he wants to know if this child will have the superpowers, and so they're kind of on one of their missions when they're out. They do see/visit or some anyway. The villain's there, and so villain wants the child, and they say no. The child hasn't even been born yet. But anyway, the child is born, and it's a boy, and his name is Franklin. He is born during their adventure out in space. And when they come back, they tell the world that they were that this villain wants their child, but they're saying no. And I will say this just to give a little backstory. Also, once these four astronauts gained these superhero powers, they actually became celebrities per se, and they were fighting super villains on a regular basis. So that was something normal for them, but they apparently had not had anyone affect them as much as they did, and so they had to decide what they're going to do with their child. And then this villain says that they want to take over the Earth, and so they were trying to figure a way to kind of fight the villain. And so the villain did try to take the child, but at this point in time was not successful. So that in itself is the movie in a nutshell.
Well, Mom, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome, Brandon.
And overall, what did you think about the Fantastic Four First Steps?
Brandon, I liked it. I really did. And I was surprised. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. I was awake during the whole movie, which is something in itself. And yes, even in movie theater, I could drift off. And so I really, really enjoyed this movie. It made sense. And I like that it could stand alone as a Marvel movie. You did not have to have any history, and the movie was explained from beginning to end.
Yes, it definitely was, and I enjoyed the movie as well. And as you said, it was our first movie that we saw in the movie theater. And I think that, and we'll touch on this, I'm sure, towards the end of our discussion as well. But I think this is the first movie that we saw that was like, I wouldn't have seen this any other way than in the movie theater for the first time.
Yes, and it was a nice family outing for us where the three of us went, and so we enjoyed ourselves.
Yes, and what was interesting is that just a few weeks ago when we rewatched it on at home on Disney Plus, is that I mean it still was a good experience, but I definitely do think it helped solidify that this was the right choice for the movie theater.
It really was. It really was.
But Mom, what did you like about the movie?
Well, I like the characterization. I like that they actually developed the characters. You knew them. And that I think takes a lot for a 2 hour movie for you to kind of know the characters and to kind of understand the plot at the same time. And especially for, a lot of Marvel movies are kind of complicated and depends on history. But it was nice to know that for this particular movie, that all of it was explained very clearly.
Yes, and while I know that many of the Marvel movies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe can go anywhere from super deep and heavy into the lore and the backstories to super light, is that for the most part, with the exception of maybe the post credit scene, or actually no, the mid credit scene, that there wasn't really anything that per se overtly connected.
No, that's right. You're correct. There wasn't anything that would make you go, "Oh, I know this is a Marvel movie."
Yeah, in fact, even we speak about in our TV discussions theme songs. Well, Marvel is very much known for its Marvel Studios intro that can almost act as a theme song in a sense. But this movie didn't even have that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm talking about, right, Mom?
Well, I know the theme song, and I'm sure I was trying to remember back to the movie a little bit. But go ahead.
Well, yes. Well, this movie did not have it. Instead, it just had in blue Marvel Studios.
Okay. Yep.
But one of the things I also liked about this is that it was a different story. And I mean, there have been some different stories within the universe and within movies, but I like that this one, as you're saying, not only can it stand alone, but it's not really a movie that we've seen. It takes place in a past, but also in a different Earth altogether.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize it was a different Earth, but yes, I do. I did like so much that it could stand alone.
But yes, but something that I noticed, at least when we initially watched it in the movie theaters, is I thought that it did a good job of sort of advertising it a little bit of ABC. If those who don't know that uh, Disney, which owns Marvel Studios, is also the owner of the TV network ABC, and so I kind of it was mentioned to ABC 5 times within the movie.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible, Brandon. I saw that you were when we were watching at home. At least I noticed that you were keeping up with it.
But yes, one of the other mentions was, of course, the Lucky Charms.
Yes, I saw that. I do remember that.
And I have another thing I noticed, but I'll save that for our connections a little bit later.
Okay.
But overall, what did you think about the fact that it did and didn't solve the main plot of that? Yeah, the villains, of course, of this case, Galactus, is coming down to Earth.
Well, they solved it initially, but of course, we know that years from now that something else is going to happen with this group. And so, which I think is typical of all Marvel movies, they kind of set it up. We know that there's going to be connection later, but at least for today, everything was solved.
And out of the Fantastic Four, whose story do you think this is?
That's a good question. I really think it's Franklin's story. It's kind of his origin story. And so I think even though we are told about the other four, I really think this is Franklin's story.
Okay, I would agree with that. I was originally going to say, if anything, is Sue's, but no, I'd agree it's Franklin's story.
Yeah. Yeah. He has to have an origin, and this is the best way to give it. We get to see it.
Well, yes, but I like that this movie especially focused in on sort of the theme of what is protection, and then in case of Sue, like even what is motherhood.
Oh, you're getting deep, Brandon. Yes, it does. It does talk about the protection of a mother and what the mother will do to actually protect her child.
Well, yeah. So apparently, if the choice is between the Earth and the child has won.
Yes, the child has won. Very true.
Well, I said, but I definitely enjoyed, like I said, watching this movie. And what would you want to see from even a sequel to this? I know, of course, the next one is Avengers Doomsday, the first Avengers movie in quite a while.
I guess just to know, I mean, we know that the child has superpowers. So I guess knowing what is the superpower power that this child has. We saw that the child healed his mother, but is that it? Or is there something else? Or maybe there are multiple things that this child's able to do? And how are the parents able to react to it? And then, well, I guess that's the four. How are they all reacting to this child with the superhero powers? And then we know that Galactus in theory is the enemy, but is that the enemy who's going to come for him later? Will there be multiple enemies or is it just really going to be Galactus? And what does Galactus really want with this child?
All good questions. And I definitely Yeah, I definitely feel that that is such a great question, and I like that even for being the missing villain, that we still don't know a lot about Galactus.
No, we don't know much about Galactus. And then there was Silver Circle too, and we don't know much about her either. And so the question is, will she come back? Is it just the Galactus who will come back, or will Galactus have another person that he is working with? So yeah, there's so many unanswered questions.
Yes, and so I feel like there's definitely a lot to explore here, but I like that again that it's a self-contained story, that it's able to tell like a true beginning, middle, end. That we're not like tune in for the next movie to find out what happens. That we're able to tell like a good story. And I know there's been so many movies and TV shows and everything over the last, I guess, 5 or 6 years. And so, do you think that this was a breath of fresh air? I certainly think so.
It was a breath of fresh air. It really was, and it wasn't a dark story, and so which is something that I like. So, I mean, something I don't like a dark story, so I like that this is kind of like a breath of fresh air.
It definitely is. And before we head into connections, is there anything else you want for us to discuss?
Now, just to let you know that of course, I like to rate my TV shows and movies 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. I gave this one a 4.
I'd agree with that.
All right, and what kind of connections did you have, Brandon?
Okay, so first of all, we have a connection with the director.
All right, Mr. Shankman.
Yes, yes, it is.
All right. And I guess we should tell people what the connection is.
Yeah. So, Mom, what is the connection?
Well, he directs a lot of Marvel movies.
Yes. And not only that, but what else? But, Mom, in addition to that, what else do you know him for?
Well, I know him from a TV show that we haven't talked about yet over here. It's coming up, but we haven't talked about him yet. Talked about that show yet?
Well, we're excited for when we speak about that show.
Yeah, we will, and we'll bring that connection in a little later.
Yes, and so we also have a sort of indirect connection in the sense, or a fun fact, I guess, with one of the writers, Eric Pearson.
Okay, what is that?
So Eric Pearson has had his plethora of experience with Marvel. He has worked on a few different short films for Marvel, 4 of them actually, um, in addition to some other movies as well that we have not yet spoken about on the channel, but also came out this year.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Any other connections?
So we do have one other piece of Marvel media that was mentioned within this movie. Probably one of the only true connections outside the very end for this movie.
All right, what is that?
So this is a blink if you'll miss it. But in addition to ABC being mentioned as a news channel, one of the other news channels is WHIH, and so that is a fictional news channel across all of Marvel. And so that was previously mentioned in episode 18, I believe, of Marvel's Agents of Shield.
Wow, you're right. I would have missed that. I did miss that, Brandon, but that's great.
But yeah, so WHIH was mentioned 3 times within this movie.
Oh wow, that's incredible. That's incredible.
But yes, and I found some interesting notes when reviewing I guess, all the articles about the movie.
What is that?
So something I found of interest is that there was a Fantastic Four movie that is unreleased, that was made in, I believe, the 1990s, perhaps around 1994.
Oh, I didn't know that.
All that to say, though, is that movie never came out, but the Fantastic Four of that movie all made cameos in this movie.
Oh, I had no idea. Who do you know the names?
So I don't personally know who they are, but they are Alex Hyde White, Rebecca Stab, Jay Underwood, and Michael Bailey Smith.
Okay. Nope. Gosh, I almost have to watch again to see them pop in.
So yeah, so I don't know where they make an appearance, but from reading online, it looks like they made, I guess, 2 separate appearances. I guess 2 of them were in groups of 2, and then they showed up all 4 together, thanking the Fantastic Four.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I've got to check that out.
But yeah, so I'm glad that they were able to provide some sort of acknowledgement for them since their movie never released.
Yeah, I'm happy that they were able to do that also.
But yes, and a little bit of background is that the Fantastic Four was the first ever Marvel superhero team in the comics.
Oh, I had no idea about that either.
Yeah, 1961.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
But Mom, is there anything else that you want to speak about for the Fantastic Four First Steps?
No, there's not. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the movie. Is this a movie that you like from Marvel? Let us know.
Yeah, definitely let us know. And have you been keeping up with all of the Marvel movies?
Yeah, let us know. Have you been keeping up with all the Marvel movies?
Well, Mom, I'm sure this isn't the last one that we're going to discuss. Oh, and of course, this does connect with the other Marvel Cinematic Universe stories we've discussed on our channel, to include Marvel's Agents of Shield, Agatha All Along, uh, the Marvels. So we've spoken about just a little bit of Marvel over the course of the past 2 years.
Yep, just a few Marvel things that we've watched.
But Mom, are you ready to go ahead and close this out?
I sure am. We thank everybody for watching today.
And we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, have a great day, everybody.